Hello, everybody. Welcome to a weekly, excuse me, a weekly Monday Q&A where I take your listener and viewer questions, and I'll try to answer as many as I can. So I look forward to it. There's not much else to say. I'm just going to jump right in. So, Danny Arefi, do you think it's possible that Morocco and Iran are capable to get to the last 16 together and knock out Spain? Oh, by the way, lighting in my room, I only have one light bulb that seems to be working. The other one kind of blew out because I turned the light on too fast. So I'm going to have to run to the store later today and buy a few light bulbs. Uh, is it possible that Morocco and Iran are capable to get to the last 16 and knock out Spain and Portugal? I don't think it'll be happen, but it would probably be one hell of a surprise if it did happen. For both of them to get through at the expense of Spain and Portugal, that would be incredible. If both of them got through, the most likely is only one of them will survive. If any of them do. And I think the strongest candidate, I know you're Iranian, but I do think the strongest candidate of those two to come through is probably Morocco. But, I mean, anything can happen. And I said, Group B, people are massively overlooking this. I remember some pundits on TV were saying that Spain and Portugal were should be celebrating after the draw. It's very easy to look at this on paper and think that it's just about brushed up, but with Iran and Morocco, they drew just about the worst options they could have gotten from Asia and Africa, respectively. You know how I feel about Iran. I do think they're the best team in Asia. I do think Morocco is the second best team in Africa on current form, behind Nigeria. I think they're going to cause Spain and Portugal a lot of problems. Olaf Schlump Banane, best Champions League game you ever watched. I really liked I really liked the 2016 Champions League final, which was the rematch between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. My favorite one, I would say, it has to be the 2005 Champions League final. The miracle of Istanbul between was it AC Milan and Liverpool. I remember I was 12 years old when that final was on, and that was incredible. Not just because of the comeback itself, but the match itself was just it's one of the best finals of any competition I've ever seen in general. Champions League, World Cup, whatever. It's up there. Joseph Hudson, could Arsene Wenger be Japan's manager at the World Cup? Well, Japan already have replaced Vahid Halilhodzic. They sacked him a few weeks ago, and they replaced him with a domestic JFA insider. I think his name is Akira Nishino. So they already have a managerial replacement. It's a local, homegrown manager. I think he also managed Gamba Osaka and Nagoya Grampus, two clubs in the J League, previously as well. The Sniper Cyanide. Which league do you think is the best in Africa, and why? Second question: why don't you make a series where you analyze every country in the World Cup? Yeah, the second question, I already have that planned. That is something that I mentioned a couple of times in the comment section of previous videos. I'm doing a 32 teams in 32 days series, and I've been planning this since around February, March. I'm gonna start doing it around the middle of May, and then until I finish about 3 or 4 days before the World Cup starts, because I still have a few videos I want to make in the few days just before the World Cup after I finish that series. I've actually already randomly drawn in my own draw the 32 teams of the order that I'm going to do them in. I'm not telling you what they are, though. um, and for your first question, which league do you think is the best in Africa? I've mentioned before, I think the Tunisian league is the best. I think Tunisia is consistently the best domestic club league in the African continent. Warison, question: do you think Portugal without Ronaldo is nothing, and they're gonna struggle a lot in Group B? I think they're gonna struggle in Group B regardless, Ronaldo or not. But yeah, the lack of his presence on the field really does take a hamper on Portugal. But you know what? They won the Euro 2016 final without him. And you can make an argument that him being subbed off due to injury really galvanized the rest of the team to rally together to beat the host nation in the final. So Portugal has more depth than people think. Um, but at the excuse me, but at the Confederations Cup, it seemed like they reverted a little bit back to the as big of a prominent role that Ronaldo played for their team. But in Euro 2016, they proved otherwise. So you don't know really which Portugal is going to show up. Dominic Rich FC, which World Cup team looks the prettiest on paper? Hey, yeah, we answered that in the video we made together. I think I said Brazil and Belgium, and you said Belgium. So yeah, I would say I would stick with that. Alexa Vujic. Why do you think Germany have such a phenomenal goalkeeping school? By far the most depth in one position of any international side. I think the answer to that question is broad because why does Germany regularly churn out such young talent? And I think it's because you go back to the total revamp they've done to their system after the failure of 2000 and 2004, the both Euro tournaments, after the very lucky run to the final of 2002, where many consider that German team to have been very fortunate to have even gotten to the 2002 final. 1998 to 2004, Germany was in a slump. Uh, Group stage exits in Euro 2000 and 2004. And ever since that period, leading up to the 2006 World Cup, Germany just completely rebooted their system. And it's the reason why they went from group stage exits in those tournaments to getting to the last four consecutive World Cup semifinals and even European Championship semifinals too in 2008, 2012, 2006. It's widely recognized, it's widely acknowledged that Germany made such profound alterations to their local domestic program. And now they have as much depth as any country's national team in the world, really. And the experiment really, really began in 2006 when they hosted it. And I remember Joachim Löw was the assistant manager to Jurgen Klinsmann at the time. And this was a team that entered the tournament with very low expectations, yet they got to the semifinals. Dipanjan Dutaroy, name a team you want to win the World Cup, except Egypt. Yeah, I've mentioned that before too. Uh, I rail on Clowns FC, Messi plus 10 homeless guys, they who must not be named, because it's bad luck if you say their name. Because I want them to win. I want them to win the World Cup. I'll actually make a video on that late in the next couple of months. Why do I want Argentina to win it? It's kind of a personal reason, but uh, to be continued on that. Mark Pacelli, are you married? No, I'm not married. Uh, I last had a relationship in 2015, so about 3 years ago. Um, it's kind of funny because if I was still with her, then she would have had someone to cheer for in the World Cup. My ex is actually half Peruvian, half Peruvian, half American. Uh, she always talked about how Peru would never get back to the World Cup, and now they're back. But now, you know, can't see it with her. Zephyr Douglas, what do you think about the average level in French League One? Thanks for answering. Love your channel. Well, League One is still behind the rest of the leagues in Western Europe. You have Serie A in Italy, La Liga in Spain, the EPL. I mean, let's be honest, League One would still knock the crap out of most European leagues, but you look at the big five in Europe, uh, the EPL, Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga. I think League One is probably the fifth best of those five. So they still have some catching up to do, but they're also not that very different from the other leagues in the sense that they're very top heavy. You tend to see two or three clubs dominate any given season: PSG, Monaco, Lyon. Uh, so it sort of alternates in that regard, but I think that it's still got a ways to go, in my opinion. Eric De La Rosa, what are you going to do for the post World Cup blues? Football is an almost endless topic. There's always going to be stuff to talk about. When the World Cup is over, you can probably see more fantasy football tournaments from me. You could see discussion about the 2019 AFC Asian Cup preparation. Um, More club football, the Club World Cup, youth tournaments, um, the Nations League that is really kicking off around the world, both UEFA Nations League and CONCACAF Nations League. So there's going to be stuff to talk about. I do understand what you're saying because I do get the same thing. I do get the post World Cup blues, that realization that, oh, it's over. It's going to be another 4 years. But life moves on, and the sport also moves on as well. Number four, have you seen Avengers Infinity War? No, I haven't seen it. I honestly haven't been to the movies that much lately, but I want to see that film that a lot of people have been talking about. It's called A Quiet Place. I really like horror. I like horror. I like psych horror. Horror that has very subtle hints of sci-fi in it as well. I was kind of on a horror movie kick last summer, where that was like most of what I wanted to see. But I haven't seen A Quiet Place, and I have not seen Avengers: Infinity War because I feel like. Okay, sorry, somebody was calling me. Um, I feel like the whole superhero movie series, Marvel is what the biggest franchise now in movie history. They just keep milking it for profit, and the quality, the storytelling has gotten kind of lazy, in my opinion. I don't know. Superhero films, I think, in the early 2000s, they were better. Mid 2000s, they were getting good. But then afterwards, in the last few years, I don't know. They just keep churning out more and more, and without really focusing on in depth character storylines. And it's just not convincing. Uh, Blind Biker 23, what do you think of the FIFA ranking system? Is it broken, or do you think it's a good system to use when comparing strength of teams? It's broken. Any system that has Switzerland as one of the seven best teams in the world, or has Poland as one of the eight best seeded teams for the World Cup draw, no disrespect to Switzerland or Poland, uh, is broken. Sutton Explorer, could you do a mock World Cup prediction with all the teams in their correct groups and paths, but with a twist? It's not about the teams, but about the abilities of the managers alone. So you want me to make a World Cup prediction video just for fun, where I dot a team's success based on just the managers, or like a World Cup tournament where it's just the managers against each other? Um, if you clarify on that and it makes sense, I can do it. But you always give me interesting questions. I like that. Thank you, Sutton Explorer. Thank you. Connor Mullen, top 3 TV series. Huh. Well, I really like Breaking Bad. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. I love the whole concept of uh, a ne'er do well high school chemistry teacher, turning into a villainous crime underlord kind of guy. Um, I like that, and because of that, I also like the offshoot show, which is on nowadays called Better Call Saul. I like that. I think Bob Odenkirk is a great actor. Um, Another show that I really like, I like Game of Thrones. I'm love the whole setting of medieval fantasy and all that stuff, and war and magic. I very much, So Game of Thrones is one. I also read the books too. The A Song of Ice and Fire series. I'm into that as well. Um, Another TV show that I like. I tune in here and there to a little bit of the WWE as well. Not as much as I used to when I was younger, and especially when I was a kid, because it's changed so much. And I kind of like how it used to be back in the day than I do now. But I still watch it. I think Monday Night Raw is on tonight as well. I might tune into that. I don't watch every week. I'm not like very very into it, but every other week I'll turn into the WWE and see what's going on, because that was a part of my childhood. Antonio Russo, what do you remember about the great Latvian team of 2004 and 2007 era? I remember you guys qualified for Euro 2004. That was a great achievement. And you also got a draw with Germany in the group stages of that tournament as well. That was really interesting. It's a great feat for Latvian football in that regards. I hope you guys can return to that second and third tier European sides. Maybe you can qualify for Euro 2020 out of UEFA Nations League D. I think you have a good chance of doing it. Let's see. Serbi, do you think if Carlos Tevez comes back to Argentina for the World Cup, they would have a better chance? Uh, I don't think it would have that much of an effect. They already have a lot of attacking options. Messi, Icardi, even Higuain. Yes, I know Higuain doesn't usually turn up in major finals, but he's come clutch for Argentina in knockout stages before. So I think Argentina just has they have enough attacking prowess as it already is. Now they should have brought him in 2014. I think Alejandro Sabella, the manager, made a mistake in not bringing him. But now another 4 years on, Argentina has more depth now than they've ever had, which is why it's so frustrating for why they always fail and why they have earned the name that I have given them. So I don't know. I don't really think Carlos Tevez would add very much to the team at this point. But 4 years ago, yeah, I think so. Faisal Kamal, Germany will not advance from their group. Mark my words, I'm not joking. It's going to be true. Ooh, bold prediction. Sami Kiani, do you believe the support cast in the Egyptian team is enough to let Salah shine and lead Egypt out of their group? Who are these players that could support him with balls? I think that Salah is miles ahead of the rest of our team. Just to make that clear, who would he need for support? I think there's a player that we have in midfield called Abdullah Al Said. Uh, he's largely responsible for a lot of creativity in that second third. A lot of the balls that end up to Mohamed Salah, so I think he'll be a crucial player. Also in defense, we have this guy named Hagazi, who plays for West Ham United. He had a pretty decent season with them. He was pretty put on a pretty good performance in that recent friendly against Portugal, so he's going to be crucial as well. Um, I consider it a success that we qualified because we've been trying to get back to the World Cup for so long, and anything after that is a bonus. Got any black ones? What do you think about the CONCACAF Champions League final? Yeah, heartbreak for Toronto FC. Really could have won the game. I believe they missed an absolute sitter in the last 10 minutes. They could have won it 3-1, thus winning it 4-3 on aggregate. And then it going to penalties. You know, penalties is a lottery, and the Chivas crowd. Happy for the Chivas fans. They seem, to have really erupted after that victory. So I know you're a Chivas fan as well, so congratulations and good luck in the Club World Cup. The Donny Soldier. What's the five biggest fallen giants in English football? Well, I know Blackburn Rovers won a Champions League at some point way back when, and then in recent seasons they've been relegated outside of the EPL top 20. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they did win promotion this season. So if that's the case, congratulations to the Blackburn Rovers. But to go from being a Champions League winner, one of only six in English football history, to being relegated in 2017, that's a hard fall. Zolo, do you think Russia versus Saudi Arabia will be an exciting match to kick the World Cup off? Yeah, I think it will be. I think it's going to be a more exciting match than people think because most likely both teams need to get the max points, especially Russia most likely needs to get the full 3 points. Uh, and I don't think Saudi Arabia is going to play the role of New Zealand in the Confederations Cup in that opening match between Russia and New Zealand, because Saudi Arabia can ball, they can play. They've got some decent players. The local Saudi league play for clubs like Ittihad and Hilal. Uh, so Saudi Arabia can cause an upset in that opening match. I absolutely do believe Saudi Arabia can win that match. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a good game. ELG Gaming YT. Do you think Argentina can be the next Argentina in 1986, and Messi can do the same as Maradona? In this day and age, it's going to be very hard to do it, because I'm not sure if any one man team has won any international tournament in recent memory. Football has very much evolved, and it's become more of a team sport. Now you'll have results like one man sides getting their teams to World Cups, aka Egypt. But to win a World Cup, I think Argentina. I don't know if Messi's going to be enough. I don't know if because you're coming up with the likes against Spain, Brazil, Belgium, uh, even a Portugal, France. So if Argentina plays the way like they did in qualifying, they're not doing anything in this World Cup. Also from ELG Gaming YT, do you have a console, Xbox or PS4? So do you have FIFA 18? No, I don't have either of them. I'm really behind on my up to date gaming equipment. I don't play very much video games that much anymore, but I do love video games. A little bit of construction going on, so if there's anything like drilling noise, you'll know why. Arbitok, do you think it's stupid that in case of an aggregate ending in a draw, one team gets an extra 30 minutes in their stadium? I think that it is very unfair advantage and the match should go straight to penalties like in CAF. So I think I disagree with that because the extra 30 minutes, even though it gives the away team more time to score, it also gives the home team more time to score and not have to rely on the lottery of a penalty shootout. Um, I don't have any problem with an extra 30 minutes being played if a two-legged tie requires to go beyond the full 90 minutes. I'm in favor of extra time. I think it should stay the way that it is now because you have to look at it. It gives both teams an opportunity to score. And if the away team is the only one that takes initiative, well, that's on the home team. That's their fault. Let's see. Is Tunisia still an overlooked team? They are currently ranked 14th, and people start talking about Tunisia being overrated. Well, they're overrated as far as the FIFA rankings are concerned because Tunisia is not a top 14 side in the world. They're not. Um, 14 is a little bit too high of a ranking for Tunisia. I think in the grand scheme of things of all national teams in the world, Tunisia is somewhere I would say in the 20s, in the 20s. But I still think they're overlooked by most football fans because most football fans don't know anything about Tunisia and they think that Belgium and England's group is going to be a walkthrough, and it won't be. Fish Rhino, what do you think about Qatar being given a spot in the Copa America? From their perspective, you want to take any international tournament exposure experience you can get before hosting the 2022 World Cup. And if it requires them getting their asses kicked by some of the best South American teams in the world to do that, I can understand why they're doing it because they automatically qualify for 2022. They're not playing any qualifying games, and that's actually a disadvantage that a lot of host nations have. They don't have that preparation of playing other teams in competitive fixtures. So, from Qatar's perspective, it's a good move. From a neutral perspective, it's kind of weird because Copa America, you don't expect to see teams like Qatar in a tournament that features teams from North and South America. But, I understand why they did it. Ivan Barjasic, how far can Croatia possibly go if everything clicked for them? Maybe another quarterfinal. Semifinal would be really pushing it. Bern Roddy, do you speak Coptic yourself? No, I don't. Most Coptic Christians don't speak it because it's a very ancient language, and the Coptic language is something that you see almost exclusively in the priesthood, in churches. Haha. Football Pharaoh, what group stage exit fixture day are you most excited for? Me and Nate like the sound of day 13. Peru versus Australia, France versus Denmark, Croatia versus Iceland, they who must not be named versus Nigeria. A delicious day in football in order. Well, I don't know by memory what specific games fall on which specific date in June and how many games are on each specific day. But the matches that I'm most looking forward to are Peru versus Denmark. I would say Iceland versus Croatia, Argentina versus Nigeria again for like the fifth or sixth World Cup in recent memory. I'm also looking forward to Germany and Mexico, Mexico and Sweden. Pretty much every game in Group H because I think that group is wide open between Poland, Colombia, Japan, and Senegal. I'm looking to see if Belgium can finally live up to their full potential. Looking to see if England can have a good World Cup. Uh, and also looking to see if Morocco and Iran can do something in Group B. Connor Mullen, how do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Uh, Not very like momentously. Wear green, maybe go to the bar, have a few drinks with people. Um, it's considered more like a minor holiday here instead of a major holiday, but a lot of people celebrate with parades and festivals and so. And I have been to St. Patrick's Day festivals and parades, and those are also very nice, I do have to say. And finally, Samuel Davidson. What is your England starting 11 for the World Cup? So I had to look this up and I had to give it some thought. Uh, and I have it. Hold on, let me just pull it up here. Okay, so my starting 11 for England in the World Cup. So for goalkeeper, believe it or not, I would not start Joe Hart. I would not do it. He's had a few blunders this season, and I think that he's a liability more so than an asset. I would start Fraser Forster. Yeah, I'd give him a shot. He has the most caps for England outside of Joe Hart in the goalkeeping position. I think that he's a pretty decent one. I would go with Fraser Forster for goalkeeping. Defense is a little bit more difficult. I think I would go with Phil Jones. I would keep Gary Cahill there. I know he's 32, but I think he needs to be that anchor in defense and provide that experience for England. And then I would go with maybe somebody like a Danny Rose and Kyle Walker. So we'd go with Kyle Walker, John Stones, um, yeah, Gary Cahill, and I go with a little bit of a wild card with Danny Rose there for the back four. And then for the midfield, this is hard. Eric Dyer. I was really impressed with what I saw with Eric Dyer in Euro 2016. I would go with Eric Dyer. Oxlade Chamberlain is injured, unfortunately. But I would go with Jordan Henderson, Jesse Lingard, and Raheem Sterling. So mid. Oh no, excuse me. I meant to give three, not four. No, I would go with a 4-4-2. Yeah, that's what I would go with. I would go with a 4-4-2 for England. Midfielders, I would go with Raheem Sterling, Jesse Lingard, Eric Dyer, and Jordan Henderson. And then the two up front, we will go with Harry Kane, and that's hard. Harry Kane, and why not Dominic Solanke? Yeah, Welbeck, Rashford would. Well, you know what? I would go with Marcus Rashford. See, it's hard. It's hard to narrow this down. Yeah, I would go with Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford and Harry Kane to lead the forwards in a 4-4-2 formation. That's my England starting 11. So again, to reiterate, I would go with a 4-4-2. In defense would be Gary Cahill, Kyle Walker, John Stones, and Danny Rose. Four in the midfield with Eric Dyer, Jordan Henderson, Jesse Lingard, and Raheem Sterling. And two up front with Harry Kane and Marcus Rashford. And in goal, I would have Fraser Forster. Yeah, ahead of Joe Hart. So leave a comment below. That's it for this Q&A. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. I hope I answered most of your questions. I'll see you next week for the next Q&A. Until then, everybody, have a good one. Much love. Peace out. Maybe I'll see you later today. I'm not sure, but if not, tomorrow, God willing. Have a good one, everybody.